Alrighty guys, so currently I'm waiting for the glue to dry on one of my projects that I'm working on. It's the shelf project. So I figured while I'm waiting, I might as well give you guys a shop tour. And then if you guys want to leave any comments down below on what you guys would like to see, like what projects you would like to see, any good project ideas, I'll share with you what I'm planning on building here in the near future. And then if you guys have any other ideas, just feel free to leave them in the comments below. So alright. Let's get this tour started. Alright, so starting right near the doors, we have this lathe of mine. It's an old Craftsman lathe that my neighbor gave me for free. So, I mean, it's not the greatest quality, but it gets the job done for now. I mean, I'm just a beginner. I just started learning how to use the lathe. So, that's that. That's the lathe. And then, right across from it, we have this old Holloway Brothers Tools Incorporated table saw. So I've never really heard of that company, but then it has a Delta motor on the back of it, so I'm not really sure what it is, but it's a pretty cool old machine. It's a nice table saw. It has plenty of power, and it's two tools in the same thing. So you have your regular table saw right here, and yes, it doesn't have a riving knife on it or anything like that because it's old. But then if you look right here, it's a joiner. It's a little 4-inch joiner, which is really nice. I use this way more than I use the actual saw because I have a smaller DeWalt table saw I like to use more than this. But so, it's a really simple system. All you do is switch the belts. This is on the joiner belt, and this is the table saw belt. So all you do is switch the belts, and you're ready to use either tool. Alright, so moving on, we have like a little makeshift workbench here. I don't really know what you guys want to call that. It's just pretty much an old tabletop set up on some sawhorses. So moving on from there, we got some toolboxes here. My mechanics toolbox, because I am into doing some of that stuff. And then here's a rougher workbench that I built a while ago. The tabletop I did not build. And then on the lower shelf, you just have some older power tools. That Mountain Dew bottle is not Mountain Dew. It's like soapy water for when I want to sharpen my tools. Belt sander, brush to brush off the top of the workbench. That's an old circular saw that doesn't work. And then I have some hand planes over there, along with a palm sander. And then right above the workbench, we have some tool storage. These are just some hand tool holders that I made. And so moving on, we have this nice, I think it's a 6-inch Bessey bench vise mounted on this old thing that my grandfather had. I'm not sure what it is. So since this thing is so heavy and sturdy, I mounted the vise on it, and I couldn't be happier. It's an awesome vise. One of these days, I'd like to get an old Wilton vise. I feel like that'd be really nice. Then right across from that, we have the toolbox, like I already said. And then right above the toolbox is the drill charging station that I built. And the drill charging station, it's empty right now because my tools are in the middle of being transported between two different places, my basement and my shop, because we're having some work done to the barn where my shop is located, and I don't trust the person who's doing it. And then right to the left of the drill charging station, we have our miter saw. You could call it a miter saw station, but that's really not what it is. It's just a wider board screwed down to some old sawhorses that my grandfather made a while ago. And so let's talk a little bit more about this saw. So yes, that's my grandfather's name. That's not my name. But so this saw, I don't know how old it is. I know it's definitely not new, and it's an old Chicago Electric Harbor Freight 12-inch sliding miter saw. At least I think it's a 12-inch. I'm not 100% sure. But it gets the job done. It's a little underpowered for what I'd like to have, and it's a little rough around the edges, but for now it's getting the job done. Hopefully within the next year or two, I'll have a new sliding miter saw. That'd be really nice to have. I'd really like that. So that's about it for the miter saw station, if you want to call it that. And then moving on the ground right now, this is not where it's always kept, is my DeWalt portable table saw. I love this thing. I got it for Christmas last year. really, like, pretty much couldn't be happier with it. The only complaint I have about this saw is I wish they would have set the blade back to around here, because if you have a longer piece of wood, it's hard to get it lined up and flat against the fence in this little short of space. It can be annoying and a little sketchy, but overall, I'm very happy with it. Right to the side of the table saw, we have this workbench I built. Now this, I didn't build these legs. These came in a kit that my dad got me, and so all I did was cut the frame and the pieces of plywood that went on it. And they're green because these used to be my dad's old train boards. Like, he used to have model trains on them, and he doesn't use them anymore, so he told me I could cut them up and use them for my workbench. And then this right here is just some welding practice stuff I'm doing, just to kind of build my skills. So then on the lower shelf, I just have some tools that I use a little bit more often. And then this is a hardware organizer that my grandfather built. And my grandfather did build a lot of stuff around here. He was a master carpenter. He was one of the most amazing woodworkers I've ever seen. Hopefully one day I'll get to his skill, but we'll see about that. Then on the lower shelf, it's not near as organized, but it's just some tools that I don't use near as much. I have my sharpening stones right there, and then some layout tools right there. Moving on, we're going to walk through this door right here. So this section right here is my wood storage area. It's where I typically keep the wood that is left over from my projects that is still usable and can't be stored in my little tub. Then right across from that, I have some old tool storage along with where I keep the heaters I use. So I just have these floodlights, some smaller boxes down there. And then right to the left, if you guys are wondering what that is, it's actually a dovetail jig that my grandfather had a long time ago, and I have no idea how to use it. So one of these days I'm gonna pull out my router, and I know it is for a router, but one of these days I'll pull out the router and figure out how to use that. So that's what that is. Then this is just some older storage. That's a bunch of my grandfather's old tools. My grandma recently moved next door to me, so she brought all of these old tools over from her basement. And so they're just kind of sitting there, and I'm going through them slowly but surely, trying to find anything that could be useful to me or that I would like to keep, so they don't just sit there and get ruined. So yeah, guys, that's about it for the shop tour. Let me know what projects you guys would like to see. If you guys want to, drop a comment below on some projects that you would like to see get done, and I'd be happy to look into them and see if that's something I'd want to do. And then if you guys are curious, the projects that I would like to do is I'd like to build a rolling stand for that table saw, and I'd also like to build a better miter saw station. After that, I'm not 100% sure what I'd like to do. I'd like to build a little shop cabinet to mount on the wall, but other than that, that's about it for the shop projects as of right now. One of these days we'll build like an actual woodworking workbench, but that's in the future. Kind of in the plans, but kind of not. Not 100% sure how I want to do it, what style I want to go with. But one of the things that I definitely would like to do to the shop is get more outlets over here, because as of right now, the only two outlets I have, one of the outlets is way up there in that corner, and then the other outlet is right here. So I only have 4 110 outlets to use, and the one up there is not very safe to use, so I pretty much never use that. So this is about the only outlet I have to use. It probably needs to be like upgraded, because I don't think this is as heavy duty enough as it should be for running my power tools. But I'm no electrician, so if you guys are, let me know what I should do about that, how you guys would run outlets, and any tips and suggestions for me when I go to run more outlets for it. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.